Hey everyone, we will get started here shortly. Just wanted to let you know that you're not just here in dead air intentionally. We're giving everybody a few minutes.
All right, everybody, let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice for Pests Live. With me, as always, is Michael Wheelock, and we have a special guest today, Adam. We will be going over some AI network security best practices.
Hey Brent, thanks for kicking us off. Adam, appreciate you joining us and everyone joining in or watching this after the fact. Adam, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to work with us on some best practices.
Thanks for having me.
Brent, before we kick off, I try to ask random questions, right? And so today's question: after a long day of work, really stressed out, how do you decompress? What's your favorite way to disconnect from work?
I love to take my dog on a walk.
And what kind of dog? I think I know, but
Yes, I have a husky.
husky. Nothing like huskies, and they talk so much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like having a teenager.
Yes.
And Adam, what about you?
I like to go see my son play some soccer, take him to his training sessions, um, and it's an enjoyable occasion to watch him play. He's developed so much over the years, so it's very
How
enjoyable.
old is he?
He's 11, going to be 12 at the end of this month.
Okay, so he's getting into it big time. What position does he play?
He plays right back or right wing.
Okay,
Yep.
so right wing, he's covering most of the field, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
pretty aggressive defensive player as well. So he can do it all pretty much, except goalie.
that's
That's the one thing he
well,
can't do. He can't be a
I
goalkeeper.
don't think I don't think I'd ever want to be a goalie parent.
Nah.
I feel like everybody's watching me the whole game. Your kid just let that get through. Well, for me, obviously most people that know me know that I try to go to the gym every morning. I'm up at 5 and try to get there, but that's kind of my pre-work. Post-work, I love sitting down with my wife and watching TV of some sort. We're big fans of Taylor Sheridan, and right now we're on the Marshalls TV show, which, for those that don't know, is a Yellowstone spinoff. And So when we're not doing farm stuff, we're watching farm stuff. So Adam, let's dive in. And today, guys, we're going to really be talking about cybersecurity and how to keep your business up and running, which is the main goal of this. For those that don't know, Adam leads up our networking team. So Voice for Pest, Voice for Turf is a lot more than just a phone service provider. Now, we're not Best Buy. You're not going to go buy your computers and your TVs from us. But once you have all those endpoints, Adam's team can proactively take care of them and keep them healthy for you. So that's what Adam's going to walk us through today. So, Adam, how did we get here, and why does it matter to people?
Thanks, Michael and Bryn. Yeah, so back in the day, viruses that were created were much simpler than nowadays. The first virus was like in 1986, and it was on a floppy disk. So basically, that's how it spread. Someone put it on a floppy disk, and you put it in your disk drive, and then it corrupted your system. They took it a step further in 1988. Was the first known worm virus that got spread across through the internet, because now we have the internet, so much easier than the floppy disk. Because now we have the internet and now we have email. The first known virus that spread across email was in 1999, and then comes to the 2000s, where the malware, the viruses got a little bit more sophisticated. And where you had ransomware attacks for financial gain. So no longer were they just messing around with your system, deleting files or corrupting files. Now they're looking to do that and then to get some kind of money, ransomware for it. And now we're fast forward to today's virus, malware market. It's generated with AI. You can go to ChatGPT.
Scary.
Yeah, you can go to any kind of AI platform and create a malware. You don't really need to know programming. And now it affects not just Windows operating systems. It can affect Linux and Apple operating systems as well. They also use, they just use all sorts of AI features to thwart protection.
Okay, and how has that changed the way we need to protect our assets?
So originally, like back in the first iteration of viruses, your standard virus protection. There was a program out there in the 1980s that protected the new virus that was on a floppy disk. Then in the 90s, they created virus signature databases and heuristic scoring. So if a file was a known bad file, it marked it as such on your system and wouldn't open it or would quarantine the file. And then in the 2000s, those viruses, again, got a little bit more sophisticated. So you needed some more protection from that. You had to have different, you had to have your virus databases and heuristic scoring. And it still led to attacks. So they created, in the 2020s, they created what's called EDR, or advanced detection and response. So it make it a little bit more difficult to deter, for deterring the virus.
Yeah, so I know, Adam, from my perspective, because I do IT support for my family and things like that, and of course we have your Malwarebytes and your Norton antivirus and those type of tools. Why are those not enough anymore, and what should people be using?
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there, a lot of different vendors making software these days. And the old-fashioned way was just, like I said, a database and some minor heuristic analysis on the files if it's a known bad file. Nowadays, they're not known. They're just files out there that can be generated by AI that only, that bypass the typical database and heuristic scoring. There's real-time scanning that detects the files as you open them, or as they get access. Again, it still uses a database, and you can do full scans and quick scans. But now, because of these viruses are being generated by AI, and just they're very sophisticated, you need to have your own AI, in essence, to protect your system. And that's where a behavioral type of malware, anti-malware product comes into play.
Sounds complicated.
Yes, there's a lot of working parts to antivirus or enhanced detection response.
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about how we remove that complication and take over that for their customers, just like we do on the phone side of things.
Yes.
So what is endpoint detection and what does it do?
So endpoint detection, it's basically it's a piece of software. It's an agent that sits on your system. It's managed by a cloud solution. So it's not an on-prem solution. It's not sitting on a server or a workstation, physically sitting on a server. It sits there and monitors your system for any known issues that could be like any issues that could be detected, any kind of anomalies, any kind of malware that's running on your machine might spark an alert with the modern day detection, because it's not typical like opening up Microsoft Word or Microsoft Edge, any of those products. If it sees like a different type of file being open, that's where you get an alert that there's something, some kind of malware on your machine. And what happens is once it detects something malicious going on through the use of behavioral analysis, it then will alert you and isolate the machine so that the machine can no longer infect other machines. It will just stay to your machine. And hopefully, if it catches it soon enough, it won't do anything to your machine. It just stops it in its tracks. But if it doesn't, and it spreads or tries to spread through your system, it won't get outside of your system and infect the rest of your devices on your network.
So, Adam, I know that we have a network services offer that manages this for our customers, right? Do you have any recent stories of how this has benefited some of our customers? Please don't use names. We don't want to make the guilty.
It's funny that yeah, it's funny that you asked, Michael. As discussed in our Monday meeting, we actually had a client of ours over the weekend, Mother's Day weekend, on Sunday morning around 4 o'clock in the morning. No one's looking at their systems at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we had our antivirus solution, EDR solution in place at this customer's location. And the device was reaching out or was performing some kind of malicious activity that the behavioral analysis detected. And it sent out an alert to our system, and then the system's automatic response was to isolate the machine. Unfortunately, the machine, the alert, it infected a couple files on the machine already, but fortunately, the 40 other machines and servers in the customer's environment did not get infected with this malware, because the machine that it got infected on initially, patient X or 0, whatever you want to call it, was isolated from the rest of the network. And the beauty of our products out there is that we can still access the machine remotely when it gets isolated, and we could see what's going on and why it got isolated. We could see if it's definitely verified that it's a positive malware, or if it's a negative malware, we can easily revert to isolation if need be. In this case, it wasn't. It was actual malware that was on a machine that infected the files. And the best way for that, once the machine gets infected, is you just unplug the machine from the network, and you can either just reload the machine, the operating systems, and then reload all your software on there, and you'll be good to go. This could have been a lot worse. It could have infected this whole network, and you would have had to reload 40 something machines plus servers. So it was a very it was
Yeah,
a
and
good
that's kind
yeah.
of you know, you're kind of talking best case scenario, which is what happened where they did get infected because you
Mhm.
know, if you're on the internet today, there's a good chance. As I'm kind of chuckling because Adam talked about MacBooks, which is what I run, and you know, it is less likely, I'll say, to get infected, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Correct.
You know, if that if that virus or malware had spread to those other 40 machines like it was trying to, it would have crippled that business and brought them all down. And you know, you're really hoping it's just malware that is not trying to extort you versus ransomware, which you see listed on the screen. And the difference is with ransomware, it is malware, but they're trying to extort money out of you to remove it. And it gets a lot more complicated, and those situations get a lot more complicated. Now, you know, if let's say worst case scenario with this single machine, it did have to be rebuilt. Do we have offers in house that'll do that for the where we will manage that for the customer, or is that something that they're stuck on their own and they have to go figure out how to do it?
Depending on the situation, but we do have built-in tools that could automatically restore the machine for us. There's a feature in
Nice.
our protection platform called rollback, and if the machine is capable, it will roll back to the to a clean system. Other options that we offer are backup file recovery and backup, where the machine there would be an agent that backs up the machine every night, and if the machine does get infected with something, we can easily restore the entire machine back to its glory before any kind of malware attack. Um,
So instead of being coming in Monday and finding all your computers are down, in this case they came in Monday and there's a good chance their machine was already fixed for them.
Yeah, talking with the customer, we were very proactive with the customer. We were proactive with when we saw the alerts. We were very proactive in making sure that it was just isolated to that one machine, and then spoke with the customer first thing in the morning to make sure he was aware of what happened over the weekend and how he was pretty lucky. And we worked with him to get his machine that was too far gone back up and running within the next couple hours.
Nice, but business was able to continue as normal. This
Correct.
sounds kind of like an all-in-one solution, right? So what all does it include? I'm assuming some of these four things that are on the screen.
Yeah, so you got to think cybersecurity is like an onion. There's multiple layers of security. The first layer is your firewall. This is pretty important still to this day, even though a lot of malware is from within the network and not so much coming from the outside anymore. But you still need a firewall to protect you from attacks from outside of your network. And there's so
Definitely.
many different firewalls out there, different manufacturers. We have our go-to vendors or our go-to manufacturers. But nowadays, because of the sophistication of these malware, you need to have a good firewall. It's called a next generation firewall that has a lot of built-in features, not just a firewall per se, but it has intrusion detection, virus scanning, web filtering. You can also you can block certain countries from accessing your network. Um, and then there's the email protection that also protects you from the outside. Prevents bad emails from coming in. It filters out the phishing emails that steal your credentials. It also can prevent emails from going outside that could, potentially, send confidential documents or whatnot. You can do encrypted emails to prevent that. You can also have the endpoint protection on the machine, which would do all the scanning and behavioral analysis for you. And then there's the monitoring of all of it. So you could take all these layers and put it all together and have it all go into funnel into a 24/7, 365 holiday weekends monitoring piece. And there'd be a well-trained cybersecurity analyst that would monitor the events that come in, and for known good, known bad. If there's anything malicious going on, you get alerted, and they'll remediate. They'll take over, and they'll if anything gets through the firewall, they'll go through the necessary steps to remediate, either block the IP address or the country coming in, or go get onto the endpoint device and block whatever might be trying to infect the system. So it's multiple layers.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I love how the multiple layers are in there for not only preventing the penetration of the malware, but if something does sneak through, there's proactive monitoring. I mean, there's actually two layers of blocking, right? Between the firewall, between the email, which sometimes bypasses the firewall. I know if I get another DocuSign email, like that seems to be the most common way that they're trying to get in, is click on this DocuSign link. And I'm like, I'm not selling my house, my man. I'm not gonna click on your link. But even if I did, the endpoint detection is there to remediate it, and it's, as you said, all backed up by a team of subject matter experts that can rapidly resolve the issue. We talked a little bit about backup, and so what are best practices around that, and why customers should consider it?
Right. Yeah. So when all else fails, if the machine is too far gone or machines are too far gone, the best course of action is to restore from a backup. And the backup should not sit on the actual computer that that you're backing up, because if that 9 out of 10, the attacker will go after the backups as well and infect the backups, or even delete the backups and then infect them. So you need to have a different way of getting those backups to restore your machine. And the best way is to have a hosted or cloud-based solution that we offer, which will back up your machine as often as you want. If you wanted to back it up every minute, you could back it up every minute. We don't recommend that, but you could. And then if in case, like 3 hours later, your machine gets infected, and you can restore from that backup from the cloud-based solution.
So my biggest thing that I love about this, because I've been working in IT for, gosh, it's decades now, but is, you said the word cloud, and really what resonates with me on that word is it can start with one user. If you're a single user organization, you don't have to go buy this big infrastructure. I mean, I remember the days of tape backups and things like that. That's no longer available. So yes, it can scale very big, but it can also scale very small. So you really should be thinking about this no matter the size of the business. And that goes for any of these solutions, because you are the right size to deploy this and consider this. We've touched on AI, and in our team, we love to talk about AI and how we can use it to help customers grow their business. But there's a negative side to AI that is out there, and you kind of touched on it with Chat GPT. And I think there's a lot of tools that people never even hear about that are the equivalent of Chat GPT, that maybe don't have the same restrictions as it. But what does AI do in this space, and why do people need to be aware of it?
Yes. So AI is as great as it is for businesses, to streamline businesses and to make things more efficiently. It also could be used against us. It makes things easier for hackers to collect information about businesses, be able to take the information that they learn about a business, either through social engineering or online profile analysis, and create an email that looks like it came from the CFO of Toys R Us or whatever big company, or Amazon for that matter, and they could send it to whoever, and you think it's from them, and you open it like any other email from your CFO, CEO, or supervisor, manager, and click on the link thinking, it's something they're sending them that you need to take care of right away. And lo and behold, you gave up your username and password, or clicked on an attachment that has some kind of malware attached to it, or a website that you go to, and it downloads a malicious attachment and runs on your machine. They also will use AI to build these pieces of malware that they can email out to you, and you won't know even your virus detection, your basic virus detection without any kind of behavioral analysis, just your standard, database and signature won't catch it because it looks like a regular email. But your computer won't see it as such, and your computer will get infected. And then what ends up happening, it opens up a tunnel or a portal and allows an attacker to gain access to your system remotely and go from there. And now, usually, one of the things you catch when you get malicious emails or phishing emails is the spelling. They'll have 2 letters or misspelled words, or the grammar is really horrible. You can tell it came from a foreign adversary. But now with AI, there's no spelling mistakes. The grammar is perfect. It's just a perfect little setup to gain access to your network.
Yeah, so I think the important thing to take away from this, Adam, is, and I'm going back to the cloud, love the cloud, but using a cloud-based trusted provider like Voice for Pest or ATS or Voice for Turf, all one company, by the way, is that we're managing and keeping all that up to date and making sure that you've got the latest, greatest, because these are evolving so drastically. What I tell my kids when I try to explain why maybe more mature generations don't like AI is it's not the fact of AI itself, it's the speed that it evolves, and it's so fast that it's hard to keep up. So having these tools in place is definitely a vital part of an organization. So yeah, what are the key takeaways that we should take from today and all the great information that you've given us?
So some key takeaways: cyber threats continue to evolve rapidly. They're ever changing, specifically with AI. They're always modifying them as such because they're looking at what they've done in the past to see what things work, and they analyze it, and they make the changes to make it so that it can easily bypass your typical antivirus malware protection solutions. That's why traditional antivirus solutions are not enough. You need something that has built-in AI features with behavioral analysis, known good, known bad, such anything that's different from your machine, it flags it right away. And then the layers. You've got to have a layered approach to your cybersecurity. You can't
That's that
just
firewall, email protection, and endpoint protection
monitoring.
you were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yep. And then just keep with AI. There's always ever changing, and sometimes it's not enough, and you need to have that backup. You need to have that solid backup that is not backing up on your machine.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. Yeah. AI is good, but it's also there's a ugly side to it for sure. Now, before I close this out, Adam, there's one thing that we didn't talk about today that I know you wanted to make sure that we made everyone aware of, which was keeping apps updated or drivers and
Right.
updating those. And so do we have a solution around that? What does that entail?
Yeah. So some of the other factors in the layer of security is you want to make sure your computers are up to date. When the operating system comes out with a patch or an update, you want to do that update to keep it more secure. Also, there's vulnerability scanning to scan the network for any known issues, to patch those, update the firmware on your firewall or switch or access points. And also, you want to have the training. The best way of the defense is to have, training, train your end users so that they're aware of what cybersecurity, what it means, what it can do. And we have all that. We have packages that we can sell that have built-in cybersecurity training. And if you need some vulnerability assessments, we can do that. Also, to test all this, you can do this every month or every year. It's called a pen test, and you can test your cybersecurity to see if it holds up in any kind of cybersecurity attack. So that's about it.
I appreciate that, Adam. And as you see, even with all these tools, I just got hit with an internet blip, and that's where I disappeared too. So sorry about that, guys. I'll get the screen back up. Adam, I really want to thank you for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and expertise. With that being said, we are here if you want to talk more about how our team can help you make a robust network and protect your business moving forward. The same level of support you're used to getting on the phone service side, we definitely extend out to the network from the firewall, endpoint monitoring, email, etc. So, if you do have any questions, I should have mentioned this earlier, but we do have a Q&A box. Feel free to put those questions in there. Hopefully you found this time beneficial, and definitely reach out to us if you want to learn more. And we can even set up a one-on-one with Adam and yourself, and he can dive down into your specific needs and make sure that we can address those. Adam, anything you'd like to leave us with in closing?
No, I think we pretty much hit all the major topics out there. And like Michael said, don't hesitate to reach out. I have plenty of time to go further and be more specific with your own environment. And we can put a plan together. It doesn't need to be done all one day. We can do it in piecemeal. We can, do the firewall first, because to me, that's like the major piece of the layer to protect yourselves first. And then after that, we can do all the other things: email, endpoint security, vulnerability assessments, pen testing, all that stuff. But
well, Adam, again, thank you. Bryn, in closing, when's our next session that we have set up?
Our next session is May 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is over some new features, more specifically Video Assist and Contact Center Elite.
Awesome. Guys, if you handle voice, email, text message, and you want better visibility into your employees' performance, definitely join us for that. The Contact Center Elite license is a very innovative, low-cost solution that gets you all the tools available, kind of our best offer all in one bundle of licenses. And then Video Assist, I know we've talked about it before, but we can't emphasize it enough. It's an easy way to improve your customer communications. Picture having eyes on any customer's issue live. We can do that for your customer service reps in the office. That'll help you quote better, quote faster, close more business. Adam, again, thank you. Appreciate your time. Everyone who joined us, thank you. And we will see you on the 27th.
Have a good afternoon, guys.
Thank you.